everybody, and welcome to Machtails from the Cantina, the live portion of this programming. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Happy Friday. We're in front of a live audience. It's a small audience, but it's a live audience. Let me hear you guys. There we go. It's a small audience, but a loud audience. I have producer Todd Sedlak. Suds.
You got it right.
I got it right. Suds. I finally got it right after you told me your nickname, Suds. He's going to be joining us tonight. I got two people behind the controls. I got Tyler Page, my good friend Tyler Page, and I also have Gunner. And I'm a little thrown out because I'm getting a little delayed through Gunner's headset. But we are going to get through this. We're going to get through this tonight. We had a couple drinks already. You guys enjoyed dinner tonight? My wife made dinner out of the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge cookbook. We had Ronto wraps, and I made a drink. Okay, so drink along with us, 21 and over, of course. Yes, Rich made it on time. Welcome, brother Rich Brendel, also a Patreon member. I'm going to get sidetracked here. Patreon members' names are in here. You got to be tuning in and watching us live. I'm going to do a name draw at the end of the show for a cool prize. Drinking word of the day, and I'll get into the drink that I made tonight. Drinking word of the day is rocks. Jedi rocks. You guys remember that? We're going to be talking about the special editions tonight and all the changes, most of the changes anyway. I have a couple guests running late tonight. My guests here tonight came from all over the place, and it took them a long time to get here. So I made this drink tonight. Dagobah Slug Slinger. Okay, the Slug Slinger is supposed to look like that, green, and it ended up looking like that. Okay, because it looks more like the swamp water that the slug was swimming around in. Drinking this out of my Mandalorian tiki glass, and I used blood red oranges to as the citrus juice, and I think that screwed some things up. So remember, rocks. Every time you hear rocks, this is on the rocks, by the way. Drink along with us. We have a lot of cool shirts. So if you guys are not wanting to commit to Patreon, we've been on there for 14 months now. Tyler has been on Patreon for 14 months. We have some cool shirts. You guys can check out the link at Patreon, and you guys can contribute that way, supporting to the show that way. But Brad recently joined Patreon. Brad, are you enjoying the content? You're about 14 months late to the party. Are you caught up with the content?
I've heard a lot of different stuff, music, Star Wars, baseball,
kind of skimmed around.
And you're a fellow drinker. I know you're a fellow craft beer guy. You're a fellow musician, so this show resonates with you that way.
Absolutely.
Little bit of everything, and that's what you get from Mocktails from the Cantina. I was thinking earlier today, too, that if I had a slogan for the show, it would be Mocktails from the Cantina, a show for Star Wars fans that like to drink. I think that's fair enough. So you mentioned on the Patreon chat that this was the first time, special editions, that you got a chance to see A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back on the big screen.
And the last 95%
of Return of the Jedi.
And so tell me about that. Tell me about that story.
Jedi was the first movie I ever saw. First one I remember, at least. I was 6
years old.
And we got there like 10-15 minutes late. And I opened the door to the screen while my brother was getting the screen. Saw like everything after the first 10 minutes. So I was right in the middle of the action at Jabba's palace. So to be able to see the movie in its entirety back in the late 90s, mid 90s was awesome again. for sure.
So there's been so many changes made to the special editions. The big one, of course, is Zahan and Guido, right? But what was the one thing that threw you off completely?
I loved pretty much all the changes except for Jedi Rocks. My jaw hit the floor. I was like, what is going on here? I don't understand this.
Yeah, Jedi Rocks was a weird addition because I'm a huge fan of Rebel Force Radio, and they use that as their theme song. So that was a huge redeeming quality to that.
Rebel Force Radio helped bring Jedi Rocks, bring it back and make it respectable.
Yeah, exactly. Because I did miss that psychedelic keyboard sound from Max Rebo.
I wasn't expecting a music video in the middle of Return of the Jedi. So.
No, and that's exactly what it turned into. I got to go to David Gladding. David, happy birthday, my brother. It is your birthday today, and you're spending it watching us on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching us. Hey, I raise my glass to you. Happy birthday. Hey, everybody, happy birthday to David. Cheers, man. David's been a big supporter for a long time. Speaking about Patreon, one last time, for those of you that join at the 1138 tier, not only do we get to sit down and have a Zoom chat, but I recently rediscovered the hard drive of the Force Within Us footage. So I'm going to be releasing not only Jimmy Mac's interview in its entirety from my second Star Wars documentary, but also Ashley Eckstein's, Jeremy Bollock's, Robert Watts, stuff that we filmed in Northern California at Smith River. Also, Death Valley. So there's just so much great stuff. We're going to be celebrating the 10-year anniversary of when we went into production on The Force Within Us all spring long. And but tonight we're talking about the special edition, not the special edition. They changed this. Anybody know how many times that they changed this movie? I think it was maybe four times. Does that sound right? They just kept tinkering with these. They're still doing it. Yes, they're still doing it.
I have a theory.
My
theory is because George owned the rights to it, he could tinker with it as much as he wanted because he owned the rights to it. So like Francis Ford Coppola doesn't own the rights to The Godfather. Paramount does. So Paramount isn't going to let him tinker with it anytime he wants. Whereas when George did it, he can tinker with it anytime he wants.
Yeah, he owned the IP.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because if I know there's been a lot of frustration, the way that I see it, from George with the sequels. And, of course, he's been on set of Rogue One. He's been on set of The Mandalorian. But maybe he's going to keep tinkering with it because, that's his control, right? That is his control element there. Now, I'm going to take you guys back to a time before people were bitching and complaining about the sequels. I'm going to take you back to a time before people were disappointed with the prequels. And I'm a big fan of the prequels, big fan of the sequels. This is even, obviously before people were bitching and complaining about the Book of Boba Fett. But people were actually complaining about the special editions. Now, for me, I waited 5 years for this release, and I was actually waiting for episode 1. As I remember, George had announced episode 1 was coming out. I think it goes back to 92, 93. And he's like, I'm going to release them in 97. I can't do. Can you do the George Lucas voice? I can't do it, but Jimmy can.
Not very well.
Not very well. Yeah. I was going to release episode 1 in 1997. That's horrible. And, but you know what? I'm gonna do a special edition first, and that's exactly what we got. But I think if we didn't have those special editions from the get-go, I think that really opened a can of worms for everybody's fever for episode 1. You feel this way, Gar?
I first off, I loved the prequels because it was new Star Wars. Like I would, if I saw Star Wars was on TV, I waited for that Tatooine, for that Ronto scene, to see the Outrider blasting out of Mos Eisley. Like it was new. That's all we had. Ewoks and droids were 5 years, 6 years earlier. This was new Star Wars. So I love the special editions just for that.
So did you, Gunnar, you have any complaints on, like, what is your favorite change? Let's talk about favorite instead of complaining. What's your number one favorite change?
Honestly, I loved, and this is Return of the Jedi. They added a scene where Luke walks in and hugs Wedge. When I saw that, I almost started crying. You know my love of Wedge. I know my computer was echoing, but
yeah, you gotta show this shirt here. This is what would Wedge do? What would Wedge do?
So yeah, I'm a Wedge fan, but I wasn't expecting that, and I like got choked up. I'm like, they had a scene with Wedge, and I'm a dork. I get it. I get it.
You know what? But as a Wedge fan, to see, him in the film.
And not just that, but hugging Luke. Like, that was an extra Luke scene.
Well, I got to tell you, my favorite change was the music at the end. I know Yub Nub is a fan favorite, but I have to tell you, the tone of the victory, the celebration song, there was something that was so fitting to that mood really captured the essence of what that moment was about.
And they kept the moments from Yub, like that when he's banging on the helmets.
Yeah.
Like they kept that in there and it synced up with the music. It was perfect. John Williams did a beautiful job.
Tyler, what about you? Was this your first time seeing, can we get Tyler the wireless mic over there? Tyler, was this your first time seeing the movies on the big screen, special editions, or did you not even?
I've never seen theatricals on the big screen,
and not even the specials.
I've seen the specials on the big screen, but
okay,
I've seen the theatricals like 5 times in my life.
Now, because you're from an era shortly before us. Or shortly after us, I should say, not before. Shortly after, would you say that you were introduced to Star Wars through the special editions?
The prequels.
The prequels, but the OT. The first time you saw the OT,
yeah, absolutely.
It was the special editions.
Yeah.
Now, when you saw the original trilogy after the special editions, or have you not seen those yet?
I've seen that. Yeah.
Because those are hard to find. Those are hard.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to find an unaltered version of the films now.
There was a DVD set that had the originals on. The second DVD set had the original unaltered, even before it said A New Hope for Star Wars Episode 4.
Really?
Yeah, it was a Best Buy exclusive.
Yeah. Best Buy. Yes. Best Buy, and they were literally unchanged at all.
Yeah, from the original theatrical.
Which is crazy. Now, let me get for little audience participation. If you think Han shot first and you're a big fan of that, let me hear some volume from that.
I don't think I know.
Yeah.
You don't think you know? Okay, so there's not even a debate. So Greedo shooting is not. Did that scene bother you guys? It did.
It didn't look right in any iteration.
It was clunky or it was mid-clunky?
Oh God!
It was better than Addie McClunky, though.
Now, what about the Jabba scene? Because I know the Jabba CGI today, looking at that first cut of the special edition, does not really hold up.
No.
Does that bother you guys?
I think what really bothers a lot of people is the fact that Jabba is, not walking because he doesn't have legs, but slithering around. Whereas you look at the Book of Boba Fett and you look at the twins, they have to be carried around on a litter. They're not walking or sliding anywhere. So I think that was the first issue. The second issue is it was a bit slapsticky when Han stepped on his tail.
Yeah,
And-
it was very
yeah.
clunky.
I mean, Jabba the Hutt is supposed to be this vile gangster, and one of the most powerful being on Tatooine. And here's this, sorry to all the Han fans out there, this 2-bit smuggler, stepping on his tail, and there's no consequences.
Right.
So it was a bit off. And the visual of the first go around, the visual of the eyes looked kind of like a cat.
Yeah, right.
I've heard
Yeah, it didn't
described
even
that
look
way.
like Jabba from Jedi.
No.
It's like they weren't ready to do that.
No.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
it was as if George was playing around with the technology in advance of the Phantom Menace to do a full CGI character on screen that was doubled by an actor, and thankfully he got it right with putting Jar Jar Binks up on the screen. I
feel that statement reminds me of what Lucas said in a documentary, the prequels. He said, "I'm always pushing," right? And you see that with Jabba the Hutt, and we got it right in the prequels. The prequels too could be fixed with technology because technology's changed and some things look outdated. I think that's just the nature of the beast that George Lucas has created,
Mm-hmm.
And he said, sometimes I push my guys so hard, they're like, I can't do this. And George is like, well, sometimes we put it out there anyway.
Let's just try it.
Yeah.
I'll see if it works.
Let's just try it. And then, and then here we are all these years later. And, some of the special effects from the prequels and the special edition look more dated than the models and that from A New Hope, Mm-hmm. Now, Gunnar, I know you're a huge fan of the original Jabba, Declan Mulholland, and but you couldn't have, that wouldn't have worked, right?
No, you could have done what they did in the radio drama where that was Heater and not Jabba. Because in the radio drama, they called that character Heater. They had that scene in the original radio drama, but his name was Heater. So, had they done that, it would have worked. But no, you couldn't have Jabba walking around. I don't think.
No.
With Declan, no.
Because, I was watching something online and it said that it takes the mystery out for viewers that have never, like my daughter, right? She's never really seen Star Wars like she should. But, if you seeing Jabba the Hutt in A New Hope in the special editions, it takes the mystery out of him because he's mentioned by name in Empire Strikes Back, and then the big reveal is in Return of the Jedi, right? So, does it take away the mystery from him? I don't know. It's hard to say. Everybody. Hey, Alfie just got here. Hey, welcome, Alfie Jimenez. Welcome. David Gladden, because it's your birthday, you say it was friggin' awesome seeing Star Wars back on the big screen. It was such a huge event. David, it's such a big deal that you're spending your birthday with us. So again, brother, happy birthday to you. Yes, it was a huge deal that Star Wars was back on the big screen because as long as it ran in the early days, there was a dry spell where it wasn't shown on the big screen anymore. Hey, Alfie, I'm going to have you come and sit in the guest chair. You come all this way, about 10 minutes down the street. Alfie, now in the Force Among Us, he hasn't even got a chance to get a drink yet. In the Force Among Us, you had mentioned that the special editions were a big deal because it was a rebirth for you and your fandom. Going back to putting yourself back in time, 1994. 1994.
What's that?
Where was your fandom then?
1984. I was still in college. There was no fandom. I was worried about, getting partying and hooking up with chicks in college, But I will say this, but there was a crew of our friends. It was about 3 or 4 of us. We still had our geekdom. We didn't share it with the sorority girls though, because they didn't look at that stuff. What? You're a dork. But we were getting high and watching Tron and Return of the Jedi.
Out of all people, getting high and watching movies.
Yeah, we would watch Tron and Return of the Jedi because the glow of the lightsaber, that's so cool.
Tron is a good movie to watch under the influence.
It is. So in 94, it was a little bit of a lull. So let's fast forward to 2 years to 1996. I'm in radio school with Sean, Mr. Hines.
Who's on his way, by the way. Who's on his way.
So we were talking, just about Star Wars stuff. He goes, hey, first of all, I'm part Filipino, Sean says. I'm like, oh, really? Because you don't look Filipino at all. And then Tuesday, hey, they're re-releasing the Star Wars in the theater. I'm like, no way. And that's how I found out the special editions were coming. And then a year later, I was working at Q101 in promotions. And I got to see the special editions before everyone else did because they had the pre-screenings. Dude, it was like being 4 years old again at Woodfield for the very first time. It was awesome, And when it came to the special editions, I think the Empire and Star Wars were done perfectly. Jedi had a lot of stuff in there they did not have to put in there. Okay.
Okay, so Jedi was the one that you felt had the most unnecessary changes.
Correct. And it was my favorite. I still think A New Hope is the best Star Wars, but Jedi is still my favorite to watch. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
For
sure.
Because it's just the action, but A New Hope will always be above everything else. It's like the Exorcist of horror movies. Okay. But the Beak.
Because it was the first.
It was the first one.
It was the first one.
Reminds me of my dad taking us to see Star Wars every week for about 6 months straight, and with my brothers, we used to take the cardboard tubes. I mean, just for about 2 years, Star Wars was everything, But in Jedi, when that Beak came out, I'm like, oh,
the Beak of the Sarlacc.
The Sarlacc pit. I mean, because it was just scary when it was just a big hole.
So when you watched it happen again in the book, of Boba Fett, you're like, oh man,
they left a beak in there, man. At least it was in the hole, right. And it looked like it was part of it. Because in Jedi, it just looks like it's superimposed on the. But wasn't it scarier when it was just a big hole with teeth?
Yeah. Well, it was mysterious.
Speaking of sorority girls, I heard there was a lot of girls like that.
I was gonna say, you said the beak in the hole. I'm like, it sounds like your college years. Yeah,
yes, it does.
The beak.
Yeah. Smells. Some of them did smell like a Sarlacc pit.
I mean, Jedi was so close to perfect. They really didn't have to do anything. I think they felt like they needed to do something.
They didn't do the beak, and obviously years later, the necessary no. The only thing that worked for me in Jedi that was okay was the extra rebel ships after they blew up the Death Star when they were pulling away. That worked because I'm like, oh, there's more ships.
Well, wait, you said the unnecessary no. Oh, that was from
the ones from a few years ago when they had no.
Okay, yes.
And then also, that Jedi rocks. Da da da.
We were just talking.
God,
we were just talking about that.
I mean, the Nice Noodle song, the first one was just felt like you're in Jabba's palace, but then that Jedi rock song with the 3 girls and the floating mic, and I'm just. This is so bad.
Yeah,
he's got the big teeth. I'm like, and I go to Sean. I'm like, wow, that was bad. That was unnecessary. But what else did they add in the Jedi Special Edition? I think that was kind of it, really. And that wasn't.
Well, we were talking. The bantha scene is great.
The bantha scene works. Yeah, because that's
all the smaller changes.
The bantha scene I can deal with and then also with if you notice when the sail barge is coming, there's always like that. There's that guy walking on top. In the original, it's almost like stop action, but then they smoothed it out. That guy walking on the top of the skiff.
Oh, sure.
They're very minor. And the bantha scene works, but everything else could have just been left out. I mean, because Jedi, as far as like space battle is concerned, I'm glad they didn't really mess with that because they didn't have to. And then obviously the Ewok song, I think, is superior to the special edition song.
See, now we were talking about that earlier. Right. I think the new replacement for Yub-Nub was one of my favorite changes.
Right. I mean, I do like the fact that they can squeeze more of the planets in there because it was a little bit longer than the Ewok song.
But the feeling of the new song.
But here's the thing with the Ewok song it transitions to yub yub, and then it says celebrate the like, woo, woo,
Yeah,
celebrate.
right.
And then it goes in, and then you hear the chorus. And
Yes,
then,
yeah, and then the
the
main
VI
title, yeah,
and then
yeah,
the credits kick in. I'm like, there's something about that. But you think about it, when you just see the X-wings, you know, it's showing the fireworks, it is a waste of time. They could have gone to the other planets. So the new song does work because you were able to squeeze in the other footage. Because we did crap in our pants when we saw Coruscant and the other planets when they were celebrating. Like, holy cow, wait a minute, those are. And then after the prequels came out, they also threw in Naboo later on.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that worked. And
Oh,
then
that was great. That
Tatooine
was
and
great.
the T-16. Okay, that worked. That footage was great. It's just the song. I don't know. It's hit or miss because I did like it when it come out, but as I got away from it, I still think the Ewok song, just something about the drums and.
So you prefer the Ewok song over the
just for nostalgia reasons? Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
It was funny. My cousin Glenn, who was in The Force Among Us and The Force Within Us, he had that new release on CD, and he was missing Return of the Jedi, the CD soundtrack,
Right.
and he goes, "Chris, are you sure you don't have it?" I'm like, "No, I don't have it." He goes, "Are you sure you don't have it? Not even for the celebration song?"
Right.
He thought I stole the CD from him for
Right.
because that last song. I was such a
Right.
huge fan of.
What's this now? John Williams is going to do some of the Obi-Wan stuff I hear.
Yeah, John Williams is going to do some Obi-Wan stuff. We'll see how that plays out. I mean, Michael Giacchino, God, man, the Rogue One soundtrack was great. Han Solo, I thought, was a little flat. It's going to be great to see Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan. But, this is...
We'll see, because here's my review of Book of Boba Fett.
Oh!
No, here's my review. Okay, did you like that? That's my review.
That's what you felt about it?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was better than that,
You know what? Because what I was telling Sean the other day, what happened to the ruthless Boba Fett? Like when he whacked Bib Fortuna, like these ruthless. Then we didn't. I wanted to see that, not this. I am Daimyo, and then also the mascot effect. You got to keep your helmet on, man, because every time he keeps his helmet off, it ruins the allure. Boba Fett's supposed to have his helmet on, and. Yeah, he kept taking it off. It's like, and then I noticed the net gator kept getting looser and looser as each episode. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna wash that thing so it tightens back up in the dryer, dude. Because it got real loose.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You would think he would have learned from his dad,
right?
Well,
because here's the thing, my omens, a bad omen for a movie for me, or even now the miniseries, is when I start questioning it while I'm watching it. When I'm questioning it while I'm watching it. That's a bad sign,
yeah, sure.
So, like in Book of Boba Fett, I'm like, where's I get we're doing the backstory stuff, and that was okay, but then we get 2 episodes of Mandalorian in there, and I'm like, what this? And I told Sean that last episode is gonna be a crash course of everything, and they're not gonna resolve anything, and I felt like it was very inconclusive at the end of what was gonna go down.
You know what? I would have to say that the segue there, because we're celebrating or complaining about the 25th anniversary, celebrating, complaining, you guys decide.
We're talking about
the special edition. But this brings up a good point, because one of the things that drove me nuts, we know Tamora Morrison is the new, continuity behind Boba Fett going back to Attack of the Clones. Mm-hmm. But that overdub of Jason Wingreen's voice, like Jason Wingreen was like, put Captain Solo in the cargo hold. Right. And Tamora Morrison's like, put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
Well, he's sort of the angry New Zealand voice now, because in Empire.
Well, it wasn't even angry. Right. It was like they were paying him by they weren't even paying him by the hour. He's like, dude, I'm doing this on my lunch break. I got to get out of here.
In Empire, he had the walkie-talkie voice, which worked,
Yeah, sure. Well, not the original.
No.
So they did that like on the special edition.
Right.
And now Rich Brendel, brother and Patreon member Rich Brendel, says he agreed with Alfie. The scenes were great, but Yub Nub was missed. So he did miss Yub Nub.
Because the footage you see there, the plants is fantastic, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the song just had a lot more airing and like just a lot more celebratory. A lot more, what I mean? And then like, I guess in Empire, I don't think there was anything there with that special edition that was wonky. You know what I mean?
No, because of the, we got the Wampa scene
Right.
that Howie Weed, ILM guy that portrayed, and that was great.
And that was a
it
real Wampa. There was someone in that, right?
Yeah. So it was up close.
Right.
It was not CGI. That was done really, really well.
The only thing I noticed is that after the end, when he's like, after Vader loses Luke, he's like, "You're bringing my shuttle for my arrival," and you're walking across. That worked.
It was a little strange.
It was a little strange, but it worked.
You know?
It's okay. And I'm so glad they didn't mess with Hoth at all in any way.
The one complaint about Empire Strikes Back, though, would be Luke falling down after the duel with Darth Vader in Cloud City, where it's like, no,
it's not even his voice.
It's not even his voice. It just was so.
Because that's one of those scenes in Star Wars. That's like the perfect. Where the hell are they in this vast, whatever the heck scene?
Yeah, right.
He goes on this big tube, and then he's on another tube, and then he ends up at the bottom of another tube. I'm like, this is one of those crazy, like, where are they scenes? And then that worked. It worked. You know?
Yeah, I thought, that was the only thing that really bothered me. But one of the things that was originally a complaint by director Irvin Kershner was the limitation on the Cloud City scene.
Oh yeah.
And so that was a great change where they added all that extra.
Oh yeah, the windows and stuff. They made sure that the load bearing
Cloud City was gorgeous.
Yeah, Cloud City was gorgeous.
It was good. They left a lot of the load bearing walls in there still, and they put at the windows.
Yeah.
That scene when the cloud cars kind of circling through the antennas and stuff, that worked.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was
good. The subtle stuff worked. That's what Empire was fine. I mean, as far as special editions,
except that Luke
the yell is really bad. Obviously, going back to A New Hope, I think some of the Tatooine stuff was a little much with the Jawa swinging off the Jurassic Park dinosaur, whatever the Ronto, whatever that is.
Oh, Ronto! That's what we had for dinner tonight. Right. We had some Ronto wraps.
But here's the thing: now it's kind of weird because I know they just posted on YouTube the original Yavin battle in 4G, whatever it is, 4K, without
4K,
without the special edition. And you watch it, it's wonky, okay, compared to the special edition, but there's still something about just the cheesy models flying around. It kind of reminded me of what's that with that indie film with the irons and stuff? What's that?
Toaster Wars or Hardware Wars?
Yeah,
with the irons and stuff flying around.
Yeah, that was Hardware Wars. Yeah.
But there was just something about the models still. I mean,
sure.
It's more loose to Top Gun because it was actual like physical vehicles on film
for sure.
So something about the original battle. And yes, it's like you can still see the 2D cutouts of the ships. It's almost like that scene from Jaws 3D that really bad at the end.
Yeah.
It's like the shark's not even moving. But in Star Wars, it worked. But still, something about the uncut version of that is still alluring to me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take any away from the special edition Yavin because that first scene with Luke's approaching and stuff, you see R2's head spinning around. My God, that's cool. But at the same time, the original one, just something about it. I like it still.
Yeah, well, Patreon member Rich Brindle again says Empire Strikes Back Special Edition was perfect. It was damn near close. Again, that yell that Luke gave when he jumped down.
Yeah, that's bad.
It bothered me. Well, you know what? Too, they ended up taking it out.
Right.
Because so I don't know how many things that they've added that they've taken out. That was one of the
only thing I wish they would have done, and this bothers me every time I see it. It's at the very end of Empire. And you see all the ships traveling through space, and you see, a couple X-wings flying, and then you see the medical frigate, and then the X-wings fly in front of it.
Yeah.
But they don't reappear on the other side. Like, where did they? You know what I mean? Like, it's very subtle.
I don't know if I've ever noticed that.
Yeah. They fly right in front of the medical frigate, and then they forgot to put the matting on the back side of it to show that they kind of cross in front of it. Where'd they go? It was like the Bermuda Triangle stuff. It's like it just disappeared. And this is they've never changed it, but they should have.
Yeah.
What kind of bothered me was the alert my Star Destroyer of my arrival. That it didn't sound. I know it's James Earl Jones, but it sounded like a different James Earl Jones.
It sounded different.
And then they threw that one scene of his ship coming into the hangar. And it's basically from
Return of Jedi.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but
going back to the chats real quick. I believe that's Dale from Colorado. He says, Chut Chut, I thought that Jabba looked great in 97. Yeah, 97, he didn't look that bad. My daughter, I got to get her comment. She just came down the
But
stairs.
the
on
only
her way
thing
to
about
bed.
that, it's not Jabba. It's when Han Solo walks on his tail.
Right.
It's like this.
It was, to comment what Dale said, I think it was cool. It was strange, right? Because we saw old footage with new Jabba the Hutt.
Right.
It was strange, you know?
Right.
It
And
was
Gunnar,
strange.
when are you going to be the original Jabba the Hutt?
Sean and I have been working on it for about
All you got to do is
5 years.
All you got to do is put on a bear
The
rug.
tunic. That's the only piece I'm missing.
Or a
Is the
bear rug and
tunic.
a belt. You're good, man.
We actually have the fur. We got about half the costume.
Now, confirm this for me. And I asked Sean, he says yes, but those two blue guys are the same species as Cad Bane, right? In the Cantina?
Yeah, the Duros.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they spoke, but they didn't speak Cad Bane, who spoke like an old man Western
Right.
cowboy man. You know.
Danielle, come over. Hey, Alfie, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight.
Yeah.
Very well
Here's my
spoken.
TIE fighter at 4 years old. This is what we used to do.
Danny, I'm going to get your comment here. Okay, here, come on up. Will you come down? Because I said I wanted to have you on the show. My daughter, Danielle, has not seen Star Wars in its entirety yet. But one of her favorite characters was Greedo. And the funny thing is, we were talking about who shot first, Han or Greedo. And when you saw Han shoot Greedo, because I played you essentially both scenes. I played Han shooting Greedo, the original cut. What did you think about Han Solo shooting Greedo?
I felt mad at him.
You felt mad at him. Then when you saw Greedo in the next scene, you had told me something. Do you remember what you told me? What did it look like Greedo did?
Shot himself.
He shot himself. And I thought that was such a very cool thing to hear from a 7-year-old point of view, because it was kind of janky. You know, the laser bolt went this way and then it came back this way. She said that he shot himself. Now, Danny, I try to show you the Banthas. I know you're a big fan of the Banthas. Try to show you the Return of the Jedi scene on YouTube, but it was not easily achievable via Google. So I will have to sit down and play the Star Wars. What do you guys think? Brad, what order did you show your kids the Star Wars movies?
My son and I watched all of them in order, starting with 1. I know that's not the way to do it. You're supposed to do, 1, 4, then 1, and there's all these different ways to do it. But we watched 1 through 6, and then watched the sequels.
So you watched episode 1 with your kids?
Yes.
First, all the way through 6. Todd, you have kids?
No, but I do have a wife that I had to introduce to the wars, because all during our dating from 89 till we got married in 96, there was no new Star Wars content coming out in the theaters. There were the books and stuff like that, but she wasn't really interested in that. And we went and saw the special editions. So I started her out like all of us started out, 4, 5, and 6, and then 1, 2, and 3.
4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So the way that we
the way that we
had seen it.
experienced it.
So Danny, I don't know which way I'm going to show the Star Wars movies to you. I think I'm with Todd. Not that what you did, Brad, was a wrong way to do it. It's always been a question with kids. You know, which way do you show it? Man, it's tough. I think I'd probably show her the special editions because just Return of the Jedi because of the Bantha. I know she loves the Banthas. But you got to watch the original. I think,
Chris, 4, 5, and 6 is the best order to start her out with, because it makes one of the reveals that happens.
Yeah, sure.
In 5,
and much more.
It impacts much more.
Sure.
You know, and I'm being circumspect because I don't know, how much she knows about the Skywalker lineage and everything else. So hey,
Sean
it's
has made it. Sean
Sean.
just made it. Sean.
Prepare the show for my arrival.
Yes.
Prepare the shuttle for his arrival. Okay, Danny, thanks so much for joining me on the show tonight. You're going to stay and hang out a minute?
I actually showed my wife the.
You don't think so? All right, well, thank you for joining on the show. Danielle Macht, everybody. Danielle Macht. All right. Thank you. Danny, I do have something for you to open, actually. Producer Todd, he came bearing gifts, which is great. I saw this in his hands, and he said, do you have this? And I'm like, I had this a long time ago. There is the special edition Howie Weed as the Wampa on the back there. But this, my friends, is meant to be open. Danny, you can't have this, but you can open it. Okay. I feel like this is meant to be open because I open a lot of my stuff. Some people think it's blasphemy. I don't know, Todd, is it blasphemy if I open this?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I'm actually going to let you do the honors. You can do it down here, okay? All right. So before I bring up Todd, I do want to bring up.
Do I have to do it down here?
You should do it down. Yeah, you should open the Wampa in the Wampa cave. Sean, you came all this way. Lisa's here as well. Sean, why don't you come up here and have a seat? You guys didn't even have a chance to grab a drink or nothing.
No, I haven't had a chance to do nothing.
You know, I mean, you know. I'm going to bring Todd on in a little bit here. This is what C-3PO says to Sean Hines coming in.
Where are you going?
Where are you going? He's not going anywhere. He just got here.
What a rough day. I tell you, I'm starving too. I'm hungrier than a bantha on bath day. I'll tell you what.
You know, I tell you what, my friend. I tell you what. We have food upstairs. We have Ronto Wraps upstairs. Why don't you go grab yourself a bite to eat? I'm going to sit down with producer Todd.
Okay.
And chat with him. And we're not going anywhere, man. So go upstairs, grab something.
Yeah, I brought the missus with me tonight, and she's
hello.
Properly attired for the show and everything.
Nice. All right, cool. Yeah, go upstairs. Yeah, Todd, I'm going to have you actually sit in the guest chair here as Tyler's going through the name changes like crazy. And if somebody doesn't mind throwing another log on the fire, that'd be great as well. Okay, so Todd, last time you were on the show, Todd's not Danny, and I'm not Danny either, but Danny is somewhere opening the Wampa. Thank you for bringing that, man. By the way.
Oh, not a problem. I'm glad it can bring some joy to your household. That really, makes me happy.
Well, you show up at the Wampa Cave for the first time, bringing
the Wampa.
I mean,
it seemed appropriate. Before we get started here, that's not the only gift that I brought. I got you this because I know you're such a fan of this
Is
character.
it autographed?
No, it's not. I'm sorry. Amy Sedaris was not available.
A belly card in the top loader. This, you know what? Now looking at her though, I don't have to listen to her, but looking at her, I'm okay. That's a cool card. Man, thank you so much for that.
Not a problem.
It's funny, Barry from the Babu Freaks wanted to convert me to a big fan of Pelling. John Zaccanaro, Patreon member and good friend up north of the border, not north of the border, not that far, but the border of Illinois and Wisconsin. He is enjoying the random arrivals. John, I wish you were here. I know you were originally planning on being here. But we will catch you next month for sure. So on the last episode, Todd, I was doing a getting to know producer Todd Sedlak. And
wow, I'm impressed. You are getting that right every single time now. Take note, Jimmy Mack, if you ever hear this.
But Suds, that's a great nickname. It reminds me of beer. And that's how you got the nickname?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it wasn't because of my enjoyment of soap.
Now, who gave you that nickname? Was Jimmy Mack give you that?
No.
But he remembered that nickname.
Yeah, no. Well, no. I told him that nickname at the end of the Babu Freaks episode that I was on because he was having a hard time pronouncing my last name, and I said, "Well, you could just call me by the nickname all my friends call me, and that's Suds." He said, You're Suds now.
And how hard is it to how it's a hard name to forget, Suds. We all like to drink on mocktails from the Cantina.
It's 1D, Tyler.
And remember too, rocks. We heard rocks a couple times. Jedi rocks. Todd, okay, so getting to know you, part 2. You're going to be on the show a lot. It's great when you're here. I love doing a live show in front of a live audience. Love having people in the flesh. And again, it's a little bit more of an intimate hang tonight because it's Patreon supporters / show guests or people that are helping out from the technical aspect, like you're my good friend Gunnar.
Well, we have a Chicago radio veteran in the name of Gunnar that I, just found out that he worked with quite possibly one of my favorite Chicago radio personalities.
Wendy Snyder.
No, Kevin Matthews. Well, I'm sorry, Jimmy, if you hear this. Wendy Snyder is great, but I okay, I'm gonna stop talking now.
I'm gonna get bonus points for Wendy for that. But you were Wendy's intern.
No, that was Alfie. Alfie
was Wendy's intern.
I worked with Jimmy.
Yeah.
Now, okay, because you were connected as a fan of Chicago radio. Do you know Alfie?
You know what? No,
You're meeting him for the first time.
Yeah, in the Wampa Cave, but I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler. Wasn't he at one of the ghost hangs last year? Yeah. The one where we closed out Imperial Oak Brewery. One of the few.
So speaking about breweries and getting to know you, Todd, part 2 out of probably part 4. Okay, what Cantina alien would you want to be the designated driver for? Who's the one that, let's say you're working for the Star Wars Tatooine version of Lyft or Uber, and you get a call from the Cantina and you're like, oh man, I hope it's this guy because I've always wanted to take that drunk patron home.
Probably the Hammerhead. The Ithorian.
Hey, you better have a big car for that.
Yeah. But I just remember as a kid seeing the Cantina scene for the first time, and the Hammerhead it just fascinated me, and it was one of my favorite action figures back in the day.
Who was your first action figure you got?
Oh, geez, you're talking 45 years ago now. I don't remember, but what I do remember is I had that original Darth Vader carrying case and I think it was filled with all 3 3/4 inch figures. I mean, I had the Luke with the yellow lightsaber. Granted, they were all out of the packages because I was 6 and 7 years old.
Oh,
and,
sure,
we didn't know from one to stock and one to rock back then. But I just remembered, having all of the play wars like you see Elliot do in the movie E.T. Where he does.
He teaches them, hey, this is Greedo, this is Hammerhead.
This is Hammerhead, yeah.
Walrus Man. It's all the Cantina aliens, right?
Exactly.
That he's teaching.
Exactly.
Now, okay, going back to the special editions real quick. You saw all the original movies in the theater, the original ones. So how was it for you to see? Was it deja vu? Was it, wow, this is cool, or I remember this like yesteryear? What was your experience seeing the special editions again?
Thinking back to that time, it seemed like a lot of the stuff, in my 6 and 9 and 12-year-old brain that I didn't really notice the first time.
Sure.
As stuff that needed to be cleaned up. But on subsequent viewings, as I got older and noticed more stuff, in general, I really liked just the cleaning up and the smoothing out. I think Alfie mentioned the guy walking across the sail barge, Jabba's sail barge, and that was good. Also, the one thing that really, as I got older, and I thought, before we saw the battle between Vader and Obi-Wan on Mustafar, and just saw quite how burnt up he got. The lore was in the EU that Vader fell into a volcano, and got burnt up. I do remember thinking when I was 12 years old, if he fell into a volcano and got burnt up, why does he still have eyebrows? When Luke unmasked him at the end, and lo and behold, when the special editions came out, they removed the eyebrows.
Okay, so it answered a question that you had about that. And speaking about Anakin too, a lot of people thought it was blasphemy putting Hayden Christensen.
That didn't get done until
like the fourth change,
like the third
2004, I believe.
Yeah.
That was probably 06 because it was after episode 3.
Yeah, it was after Revenge of the Sith. So I'm going to say it was 06 on the I think there was like a DVD re-release of the original trilogy.
I don't know,
they did that in.
Just like Greedo and Han, we got a little audience participation in that. You said there was no debate. Han did shoot first.
Oh yeah.
How do we feel about applause or cheer? Make some noise if you approve of Anakin, the character, Sebastian Shaw being replaced by Hayden. Okay, we got it mixed. We got Brad. Where do you stand? We got some booing. We got some cheering from Gunnar and Tyler.
Well, it totally destroys the continuity of the scene. We just saw the guy die 4 minutes earlier.
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. And
didn't we watch the Black Rage scene from Chasing Amy?
Well, and too, he did get redeemed as we saw him in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, he dies as a crusty old man. He should look at like the crusty old man. It worked perfectly the first time around.
Right. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan standing next to him like, WTF,
I used to look like you and McGregor.
Yeah, exactly.
See, then it goes right to that scene from Chasing Amy at the very beginning. Crusty, take the mask off. This crusty old white dude. What you're telling us is we always wants to be white. Well, isn't that true?
Yeah.
Black Rage.
It was kind of interesting to hear that
I'll just
mix
say
there.
this. When you look at that scene, what always gets me every time I see it, Hayden isn't even looking in the right direction.
No,
and
he's
it bugs
not.
me every single time.
No, he's kind of like doing the Attack of the Clones, like, Lost in Love kind of moment.
Anakin, where are you looking? I'm over here.
What they should have done is just do Anakin taking Hayden Christensen, recreate that scene when he's on the ramp of Shuttle Tidarium and do him up old man wise, and then put him back in there. Yeah, now that makes sense.
This is a very good comment. Can you? I butchered your last name. Can you pronounce that name for me?
I'm gonna go with McLeish.
Okay. He's a. I know McLeish. You and I connected on the Nerf Herder console. So thank you for tuning in tonight. You make a very good comment. Should we really be celebrating 25 years of things being needlessly changed? I don't know. I that's a good point. But
I got it right.
But I think the thing about the special editions, you got it right. Congratulations on that. The thing about the 25 years, crazy thing is it's been 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's the crazy thing, right? So we shouldn't be celebrating Star Wars because the older that film gets, the older we feel. At least for me, anyway. And but I gotta say that when the special editions came out, I feel. Could you imagine would the success of the prequels be what they were, and the hype for the prequels be what they were without the special editions? I don't.
Yeah, you see,
think so?
Here's the thing, and I would submit to. I'm not going to even try to pronounce the first name, so I'm going to say. Here's what I would say to McLeish is the reason we're celebrating the 25 years of this is some of the older, more well-seasoned folks in this room.
Thai boomers.
Lived through what was referred to in fanboys as the dark times, where there was nothing to Star Wars, nothing being released beyond a book here and there, and a couple of video games too.
I got it, but I got to correct you on that because it's a very good point. And I never thought of it this way until now, but putting myself in fandom of 92, 93, they say there was the dark time, but for me, it was looking for stuff. Right. And it was like searching for the Holy Grail. To me, there was this huge element of nostalgia for me between like 92 and 95.
You know, in the mid-90s, they started to come out with the CD-ROM games.
Yeah.
For me, I think Star Wars started to kick in with Rebel Assault 2. Does anyone remember?
Yes.
The cutscenes in that are still the best you've ever seen in a video.
That was one of the first times they brought back some.
That was the first time they used live action since Return of the Jedi.
Granny Y-Wing.
Yeah, they were phenomenal. So look at cutscenes at Rebel Assault 2 on YouTube. They're phenomenal.
That's the CD-ROM game. I remember that. David Gladding says the special editions added some polish to a heirloom. I believe that's a true statement. For sure. It's hard to argue with that. And Patreon member Chip Orlikowski says it was a reason to put Star Wars back on the big screen, referring to what you said, this dark time where there was nothing. Yeah. And I don't want to say that the special editions were a marketing tool for the prequels, but I think George wanted to put out some unfinished business, if you will. And it was probably a hell of a lot easier to make some changes to an old movie instead of shooting a prequel that obviously took a good 6 years to shoot. But the world responded, and I think the hype was so big. If you were let down about the prequels, I think the special editions might have not have helped your cause because you were so hyped for what you just saw, the original films back on the screen. Andy down in Miami says it was great reason, also a Patreon member and a friend, it was a great reason because for guys like me and Tyler, who are younger, gave us the opportunity to experience it on the big screen. Tyler, you said that you did not get a chance to experience that in its initial release, but you did see it. When was the first time you saw the film on the big screen?
On the big screen?
Was it 2 years ago with the drive-in? Empire Strikes Back?
I can't remember the year, but I remember I watched the original trilogy probably around 2003, 2004 for the first time. I had seen Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace before,
but on the big screen.
On the big screen, I don't know. But the special editions, their legacy, I feel like it lies half in the theatrical release and half in all the things that came after. All the VHS releases, DVD releases, everything that it allowed them to do.
So you have seen the original theatrical releases.
I had to go out of my way to do it.
Yeah,
but I did.
All right.
They're not easy to find. They're just
no. Well, I think they re-released. I think it was on DVD or Blu-ray, or they re-released the original unaltered theatrical versions. I think a few years ago. I'm sure Barry Harmon, if he were here, could. There you go.
Despecialized edition.
Katie,
there you go. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Get the Wampa. You open it up. Continue with getting to know producer Todd Sedlak. See, now I'm firing on all cylinders here.
Hold on a second before we go. But one of the other things that I just realized, one of the reasons why it's important to talk about the 25 years of the special editions is because it also fixed some continuity stuff. If you remember back to the original theatrical releases, when Vader was talking to Palpatine via hologram, I believe it was a female actress.
Chimp eyes.
with chimp eyes.
With chimp eyes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
I know, Tyler, can you dig up that photo? The chimp eyes emperor from the original Empire Strikes Back. That was huge. Now, here's the question that I have though, right? Because I was thinking about that. That was a great addition to the special edition, the special edition. They should have had that, before we saw Darth Sidious, because Ian McDermott was alive and well. Here's the Wampa that you got me open in the flesh. He's perfect. He's gonna go right in the case. And Wampa Wampa, like the Kenner commercials, Wampa Wampa Wampa.
There you go.
And Luke Skywalker, of course, with the goggles. With the goggles. I need the goggles, the true Norwegian goggles to complete my crew member cosplay costume.
They even pop up and down.
Up and down. Now, don't lose any of that. All right, don't get them dirty.
Wait, where do I put them?
You know what? We'll put him in the case tomorrow. Let's see. McLeish, since you raised a good point, there
you go.
Now, that's not the behind the scenes shot, but yes, that was the original shot. Clive Revel, who did the voice of that. Man, there were a lot of people. There were a lot of people trying to make that character happen. You got the chip,
Yep.
You got the old lady, you got Clive Revel, the voice of him, pulling that off, and and then they changed it to, of course, Ian McDermott, which I think is much more appropriate. McLeish says you raise a good point. There are a few great changes. McDermott's Empire scene is very worthy change. Yes. John J. Canaro says special edition Empire poster from Pizza Hut was my first Star Wars club. Yes, the Annette, of course, created the relation. That was the birth of the relationship that they had for episode 1. Was all the promo at Taco Bell and pizza. Yeah, owned by Pepsi, right? I believe it's a Pepsi company. All right, kid, I'm gonna have you get down. Todd, I'm gonna ask you just a couple more questions before I let you go.
All right.
Danny, I gotta get you down. Okay, here you go. Keep them in mint condition, please. I was talking to Jimmy Mack on the Freaks, RFR Patreon exclusive, and he had said that he regretted opening up the Star Wars action figures with his kids. My daughter knows not to do that, but this one I gotta let her open because it's got to go in the case. Would you rather attend a Max Rebo concert or a Modal Nodes concert?
I gotta go with my man Rebo.
Yes,
but not playing Jedi rocks.
Yeah, like the psychedelic true 1983 cut from Return of the Jedi. Your Star Wars drinking establishment of choice. Okay, now I'm going to help you think about this. At the Mos Eisley Cantina, you have Jabba's Palace. You have, what's the cantina from The Mandalorian? I forget the name of that.
Navarian?
the Regal Beagle? That sounds more like a Fu Manchu song, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you not know Three's Company? That's the Regal Beagle.
It's the Regal Beagle bar?
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, because I'm a little younger than you. It's
Same era.
Yeah.
Same era, but
Don't forget,
I was more interested in animation.
don't forget the Outlander Club from Attack of the Clones.
Outlander Club, that's
there
a
you
good
go.
one. Yes, thank you, Gunnar. Thank you for that. That's why you're here tonight. That's why I'm paying you the big bucks. So where one place. You drop off
Texas Diner.
Drop off Hammerhead, and then now you're off of work and you're ready to go get a drink. Where are you going to go?
I think I would go to the Outlander Club because the chicks seem hotter there.
The chicks seem hotter. I like that answer. That's an honest, unfiltered.
He's got to get his death sticks.
Yeah. You don't want to sell me any death sticks.
Sleaze Bagano in the death.
That was such a tempting place. It was the only time in the Star Wars movies we saw a Jedi say, you know what? Forget about my sobriety. I'm going to go get a drink. All right, Todd, thank you for not only being a producer on the show, but thank you for your time and making the drive and the wampa and the bottle of wine for my wife. Thank you so much.
And don't forget your
can't
new
forget
girlfriend.
This. Look, it's like Christmas and my new girlfriend. You know, she is not as hot as the chicks at the Outlander Club. That's for sure.
No, that's for sure.
All right, I'm going to chat with my good friend Sean Hines. You come a long way. We delayed the show because Sean was busy at work. And Sean, you know what? I don't think I've had a guest on back to back.
Back to back?
No, you were on last show.
Okay.
January.
All right.
You're on this show. I'm sure the Shamrock DeLorean's going to show up in March.
Well, it's about that time to shake for the shaking the rhyme. Whatever. However that goes.
Hey, there we go. The Mandalorian mashups.
There's my crew right there. Right? We're gearing up for another group shot coming up this end of May.
What are the plans for celebration?
In progress. The plans are in progress.
With the mashup.
With the mashup. Basically, what I usually do is I have to talk to my buddies over at the Marks and the 501st and the Rebel Legion to make sure that when we schedule ours, that it doesn't conflict with theirs. Because there's so many group shots, and people, there's a lot of people that do the mashups that are also in those other groups. So it's hard, when you decide what costume you're going to wear for what particular day. But the last time we were when we had the one in Chicago, that was our biggest turnout yet. The mashup group photo is not just relegated to Mandalorians. We've opened it up to basically anything that's a mashup. So if it's a Star Wars mashup costume, we want you in this shot. And the one that we did in Chicago was our biggest group thus far, and we're hoping to double it or even more so come this next one.
It's grown.
It has.
It's grown from the beginning. And
it's very exciting. We always give out some cool swag for anybody who comes to participate in the group shot. So there's always that to look forward to. It's all that stuff's still in the works, but it'll get announced and posted as we get closer.
I have some breaking news for you.
Breaking news or shocking news?
It's shitty news. I don't know if it's shitty news, but I don't see myself bringing my Mando costume out to Anaheim.
At Tu Brute?
I don't see myself lugging that out with me.
That's okay. We all know you can't hang when it comes to costuming.
I'm not partial. I've hung out in Chicago, and that was a little bit of an ass beater. Now, Tyler was originally planning on driving like a Cheech and Chong type of van across.
Oh, you going to do the Route 66 all the way to Celebration?
We were, but they went out the window. What, a couple years ago, maybe?
Yeah, it just doesn't work with the schedule.
It doesn't work with it. It's a long drive.
It is a long drive. I mean, that's something you gotta plan years in advance for.
Yes, yeah. It's a far drive. The other news that I have. You want the good news or the bad news first?
Oh, geez. Well, of course you want the bad news first and then liven things back up with the good news.
The bad news is I'm not going to make a real fans of the Saga Season 2.
You've said that 3 or 4 times.
It's not breaking news then.
No.
But I never confirmed it because I was always like, you never say never.
Right. You've gone back and forth,
I think I've kind of made my...
Well, I'm obviously saddened. Am I surprised? Not really, because you got to finish the first one.
What? That's the good news. That's the good news. As soon as I get a chance to turn over my computer, Eric the Finisher in post-production.
That sounds like a wrestler, man.
Yeah, Eric the Finisher.
Bring this show to a close.
Exactly.
Watch for the new episodes from Eric the Finisher.
Yes. I like that. Yes, Eric the Finisher. What do you think his final move is? Eric the Finisher.
The final cut?
It's not that's a man thinking on his toes. Yes. Okay, so going back to the special edition. Well, the good news is that Eric the Finisher, he's going to be working on 7, 8, 9. Now, my goal is to have, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All out by Celebration. I do not think I will go to Celebration, and I'm not asking for my money back. But I don't think I should show my face at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim if I can't finish the Real Fans of the Saga that we shot there 7 years ago.
That's crazy. 7 years ago, we started filming this thing.
7 years ago. Come on, man.
I'm still waiting for all my episodes that haven't aired yet.
Well, you know what? You got to join Patreon for that.
There's no wonder you don't want to do a season 2. It'll take another 7 years to finish.
I have to choke. I have to quote Sherritt. That, my friend, you must pay. All right, so going back to the special editions, and thank you guys so much for showing up live in the Wampa Cave tonight. Show number 14 it is, right? Show 14 tonight? Tyler says we've been doing this a lot longer than that. He feels like we've been doing this for like 300 episodes. We are not there yet, but we will get there eventually.
And I will be there.
Yeah, and Sean will be here. Now, Sean, I'm surprised your brother, your Filipino brother, he was channeling his inner Hines.
Oh, really?
Because he was talking more than you. But I like that because I don't expect that from Alfie. I expect that from you.
We need more of that from Alfie.
We do need more of that from Alfie.
We need more Alfie in this world of Real Fans.
I think there's this comfort zone and this comfort level that Alfie and I share here in the Wampa Cave, and together we have this relationship, not as long as you guys have, but and there was not enough of Alfie in the Real Fans of the Saga.
No, yeah, most definitely.
This is a good chance. Machtails has been a great chance for people to catch up with Alfie if they wanted more. I'm sure they wanted more of him in the Real Fans, and you're going to get more of him in the Real Fans in the last half. But going back and wrapping up the show, special editions, what was your number one favorite change?
My number one favorite change. Oh boy. Okay.
It just comes to mind. That one where you watch it and you're like, man, that scene is, I loved it back in 97 and I still love it now.
Well, let's see. It's gotta be, gosh, now you're really gonna make me think. Because they really didn't do a whole lot when you think about it in Empire. They really didn't do a whole lot. I mean, the Wampa.
Yeah, that's what Alfie was saying.
Was really cool. You do?
It's the addition of Boba Fett in Jabba's palace.
You were leading me down that path. Yeah.
Well, and we saw more
Especially
Boba
when
Fett.
he touches the girl on the chin, like
yeah.
Well, it was basically all the additions of Boba Fett. With in A New Hope, when he's in the extra scene with Jabba, I'd have to probably say the Jabba scene at Mos Eisley, being added back into the movie was probably my favorite.
Yeah, and he broke the ice.
Yeah.
So, okay, help me out here, Star Wars fans. Boba Fett broke the ice in A New Hope. Jar Jar broke the ice, making that third wall between the audience
looking at the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, looking at the camera, thumbs up after the pod racer tongue electrocution scene. Anybody else do that in Star Wars that you guys think of? Just Boba Fett and Jar Jar.
Maybe Tubman.
Man, hard to believe. That's a good trivia question. What do Boba Fett and Jar Jar Binks have in common? They were the characters that broke the ice.
Wall.
And of the fourth wall, yes. Of course, played by Don Byes in Return of the Jedi.
Also Hawkman in Flash Gordon.
And not Sean Astin. There's a Sean that played... There's actually a Sean, I believe.
I'm right here. What do you want to know?
But he played Boba Fett in the special edition in A New Hope, I believe.
No.
No? Austin.
They had him on
Austin's his name. See, I'm thinking Steve Austin. See, I'm thinking Sean Astin.
Stone Cold? Stone Cold.
Steve Austin. Okay,
See, it all
yes,
comes back to wrestling. We laying the spec down on the special edition.
And we're getting that from the RFR camp right there. Yes, I was getting Sean Astin confused with Steve Austin. Okay, I got to explain myself because where do I get that from? David Gladding says C-3PO. How typical. Yes. Yes, great.
And how fantastic. I mean, how many years later looks exactly the same, dressed up in that outfit. How many years later, falling into the Rancor pit? I mean, Ula looked fantastic.
Oh yeah, that was a good thing about Ula. She showed up and she was able to recreate. Did we need that? I don't know, but I think it was cool to see her do that.
It was. I thought it was impressive.
It was most impressive. Most impressive. What would you say is the one scene? And I'm going to guess on that one, Alfie. You're not.
I think he knows what I'm going to say.
Greedo.
Jedi rocks.
Jedi rocks. Hey, rocks. Everybody have a drink. That's it. Probably the 6th time we've heard the
Jedi
trigger.
rocks. One of the worst things to ever happen to Star Wars.
Well, I tell you though. Okay, Jedi rocks. Like we talked about. Todd Suds said RFR had kind of and Brad had said that too. RFR uses that as their theme song. They've kind of gave new light to that. Because I know if you heard Jedi Rocks now, you're an RFR fan. You're not going to think about the crappy addition to the special edition. You're going to think of RFR, starting up. And I remember going to Celebration. I was in line with you. It was probably 2 or 3 before we're really, really hanging out.
Uh-huh.
And we walked in and they played that song a lot there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? This song isn't as bad because
it wasn't so much. I mean, the song is the song. I guess it was what you saw while the song was going.
The video segment.
Yeah.
It was a video.
It took you out of that whole. After seeing what it used to be,
yes,
with Max Rebo and his crew and the Laptinek, and then switching over to that, I mean, it was a complete 180.
It was, yeah.
It just takes you out of what that scene was, changes the mood completely, and then it has to find its way back to the way where the mood was supposed to be.
I think before I show my daughter episode 4, 5, and 6, I'm going to show her the original Laptinek and Jedi Rocks, and I'm going to let her kind of give me an idea of what she thinks of that, some input,
There she is.
So, yeah, but I'm not going to play it now. I'm not going to play it now because we are at 1 hour and 16 minutes. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Rich Brendel says, I'm amazed. What's that?
You get 2 turns.
2 turns of what?
Of coming up here.
Oh, you want another turn coming up here? Oh, yeah, I got to ask you.
Well, we have to have Lisa on for at least a couple seconds. Just
I got to. Oh, wait, we give her the wireless mic. We can give her the wireless mic.
No.
You put the shirt on. You come on over here.
Problem with Jedi Rocks is is the video, I believe.
They're asking us what we think the problem with Jedi Rocks is.
I believe so.
Yeah,
yes.
like I said, the song's not. The song's fine. It's just
it's the guy coming too close to the camera with his mouth open. It looks.
I guess you could say he breaks the 4th wall.
You see his bike cut.
Rich Brendel says chut chut and poo poo, Danny. Hey, can I get you to say that chut chut?
Yeah, and you see the bicuspid and whatever, and the molars.
Now, is that breaking the 4th wall? Is that guy breaking it?
Hey, Rich's comment. I have my daughter on my lap, so I'm not going to read it out loud. But you know what? If you come to the Wampa Cave, you could see my Ula with that slip mishap there. Chip Orlikowski says, and that's the bottom line, because Chris Mock said so. Not necessarily, but Chip, I know you're a big fan, Chip, and I appreciate your support, man. So I'm glad that I have your allegiance and your loyalty for sure. But no, I am not the voice or reason of Star Wars. I am just sharing, as you guys know, I am just sharing my personal story and my personal journey.
Well, I definitely have to give props and shout out to Alfie for hooking me up with the sneak peek, the advanced screening that we went to.
Oh, you were at that screening.
Well, because we were at broadcasting school together.
Yeah, I was at Q101. I got he saw Empire
and Jedi
in the pre-screening before everyone else did.
Right, we saw it with Siskel and Ebert.
With Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah, they were a couple rows in front of us.
With Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was the weirdest thing. What was the name of that theater?
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing to say that you were in there.
Special pass. I call him up and like.
All right, guys, remember to join us on Patreon. $2 gets you a weekly podcast episode. $5 gets you so much more. And you could be up here with my good friend, like my good friend Todd Sedlisek, producing the show.
This is a good segment for Lisa. Right here.
It is.
Yes, it is. Come here. I got something for you. Whatever you're going to do here.
I was going to have Danny do that.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But Lisa, can we get your favorite moment from the special edition? Do you have a favorite moment? No. Okay. Now, Lisa, I know you are like Michelle. You're kind of a Star Wars fan, not necessarily maybe loosely by default.
Come around here.
Do you have a strong feeling on who shot first, Han or Greedo, or you could really care less? Han shot first. Okay, even for the fan by default.
Brainwashed a little bit there, but yes.
Danny, here, go ahead and draw the name. I want to thank all my guests. Tyler Page for helping out. Gunnar Malmstrom for helping out. Alfie, Sean, Lisa, Patreon member Brad, and show producer Todd Suds. And the winner is, Boston Dan, are you tuning in tonight? He's not.
He's watching Free Guy right now.
Free Guy. Okay, Boston Dan, you do not win. You got to be present to win. You got to be watching to win. Okay, go ahead.
He gets Free Guy. He doesn't get free stuff.
No. Okay, what do we got here? Rich, she picked your name. You still watching, brother?
I see him in the chain there.
Rich wins again. Rich Brendel, let me see you in the comments. Rich, I know you couldn't have.
Show yourself. Show yourself.
Come on, Rich, are you there?
We're waiting.
Rich, we're waiting. You were just there, Rich. Oh, okay. He left? He left early? Oh, there he goes. All right, Rich is there. Everybody, let's hear it for Rich Brendel. He won again. All right, Rich. And Rich is at the 1138 level. I'd like to do Zoom chats with him as well. He's got access to. Now, remember, guys, you get access to inside the Vault segments. We're going to be dropping the interview in its entirety with Ashley Eckstein from The Force Within Us, Jeremy Bullock, Robert Watts, our trip to Northern California, and Death Valley. That's all going to be available at the 1138 tier. So, hey, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Friday, and we will catch you guys next time on Mocktails from the Cantina. So long, everybody.